Welcome to High Performance, the podcast for real estate agents featuring Josh Phegan and Alexander Phillips. Alexander, today we're going to talk about setting up an environment for success, and a lot of people don't understand what the environments are that actually determine the outcomes for a person. And I always say that usually there's a couple of environments. One is the home environment, two is actually the work environment, and then the three is in the social environment of the people that you get to hang out with. How important is it to get all three of those in alignment in order to be able to hit success as an estate agent?
Josh, I think all three obviously work with each other, and if you've got the right people around you, you've got I suppose a good support network of people that are on the same page as you, that are probably in the same mindset of wanting to be successful, wanting to be humble, and obviously just want to be a nice enough person to each other around them. And I think that's one of the reasons for our success is that sort of all three parts of that. It's also, with the intensity of real estate, particularly when you're obviously, opening 15 or 20 homes a week, you've got to have a balanced lifestyle. And we do work very long hours, but it's about doing the years in chunks. It's about refreshing yourself. It's about socializing with your girlfriend or your wife, spending time with your family. All those things do help you become, I think, a better person as well. And it's also the people around you. If you're going out, for big nights every weekend, and there's, your friends are out partying, and they don't have as a dedicated job, I think you'll lose distractions, and you're not focused on the work week, and you'll miss listings and opportunities, and don't make as many calls and build your database.
I remember in the early days, I was catching up with a good mate of mine. It was a DJ at the local nightclub, and I decided to go in and actually see him at his workplace. And it was about 11 o'clock on one Saturday night, and we were looking around, and he sort of said, "Mate, how good is this?" And I said, "Okay, great." So we looked around the nightclub, and I said, "And how many of these people are earning more than $1 million a year?" And he looked back at me and he said, "None of them." I said, "Okay, great. There's a great outcome. You got to hang out where the sort of people that you want to be like are actually hanging out, because there's probably a reason that they're at home. They're already in bed. They're already asleep. They're going to be getting up tomorrow morning, going for a run, feeling good, having a great Sunday to really position themselves for that level of success." And a lot of people don't really think about that sacrifice, is that there's a lot of instant gratification. What feels good right now? What are the things that, I can be looking forward to? And they kind of look forward to a weekend because they think that they're not going to have to work. But yet the most successful people are actually saying that, in order to be able to set up for success, I need to make sure that I've got the very best energy for when I'm in front of the consumer, because I've never met anyone who says, "Look, I'd like someone who's a bit tired, a bit exhausted, a bit over it, a bit done with it, or still getting over a hangover from the weekend." What they're actually after is that someone who's really sharp, really onto it, and in a position that they can make much, much better decisions to help them to maximize the sale price. One of those things is that sometimes you're in an environment that isn't, actually conducive to success. And that's like, the cleanliness of a house, the organization of an office, getting the right sort of people that you're hanging out with that are actually aspirational and ambitious, and, talking and having a better quality conversation. And what I've learned really quickly is the people that are prepared to learn the fast that actually grow the fastest. And so what can you do to set yourself up into a better environment if the environment that you're in today maybe isn't as conducive as it could be to you actually becoming a great estate agent?
I think you've got to, firstly, have a good mentor, someone you can talk to, every day. You've got to speak with your family. You've got to look at maybe, playing, rejigging who you hang out with on the weekends. I think it's about, like I said, ensuring that the people around you have the same mindset. If not, it's going to be very difficult for you to be focused and become successful.
Interesting enough, we interviewed Michael Klim for the upcoming Let's Sell Negotiate event over the course of the week, and Michael said something really interesting about becoming a champion athlete and obviously an Olympian. And one he said is that he focuses the most on making sure that he exercises every day. The second thing that's really important to him is about making sure that he's got really good high quality nutrition. The third thing is then the quality of sleep. And then the fourth thing that he looks after is the ability to be able to manage stress. How important is it that you get those four elements right, and particularly about managing stress as your career grows?
Yeah, I think, Josh, if you're not eating right, you're not sleeping well, stress will build up as well, and then it just sort of snowballs and becomes more of a problem. Like if I'm not asleep before, say, 10 o'clock and I wake up at 5:15, I'm not 100%. So it's making sure that, you're eating dinner at the right time, not too late. It's about, maintaining enough fuel in your body throughout the day so you don't have highs and lows and you're eating the right things. So all of that, I think, combines itself to managing stress and being switched on. And I think that's one of the reasons for our success is that we do all those elements. And if we don't, which I have done in the past, you just lose. Firstly, I just think your energy's being sucked out, and you're not focused, and you're losing, the motivation on why you're there, and therefore you're not in seventh gear. And when you're going up against, high performing agents, they're of that mindset. They're doing all the right things every day. You're going to be at the bottom of the list.
I was thinking about it this way: it's what you do when things are quiet that makes all the difference when things get busy. So, for me, for example, on a Sunday, that's a really good preparation day for the rest of the week. Make sure everything's packed away, everything's organised, the car's been filled up with fuel, so that I don't have to worry about any of that sort of stuff come Monday through Saturday when things are busy, when you're in front of clients, when you're going to appointments, and that you've actually got all of the preparation done, so then you can be highly successful around that. And I think that for a lot of people that they just don't take the time to do that, and then they find themselves rushing to an appointment, trying to get fuel for the car, being in a position that they come home at night, there's nothing in the fridge, and so therefore they're making poor choices around diet, and and maybe watching TV at night because they think that that's something that's going to allow them to switch off, as opposed to maybe having a really good, engaged and deep conversation with their partner or family, or potentially even reading a good book and changing the dialogue, inside of their brain, so that tomorrow morning they can be much more clear and much more focused about the outcome. And I think that, environments are a great challenge, and that sometimes for people, going for a walk, going to a different location, going to a different cafe than what you normally go to, and actually just really sitting down with a pen and paper and saying, what does success really look like for me, and where do I actually want to go and take that? And I think that if you have a look at what you do is that you tend to make sure that you're hanging out with people that are doing bigger and better things, both inside of the real estate industry and outside of the real estate industry, to keep your mind thinking about where the opportunities might be. How much is it important for people to have a bigger view of the future than what's happened in their past?
Yeah, I think it's obviously that mindset, which not everybody has, of thinking big and having, high aspirations for yourself, and continually setting goals and making yourself accountable will help you also, have the right environment around you.
I think this is a big challenge for a lot of people, is that in terms of their environment for success, they look around and they might be the number one agent sitting in their office, and then they kind of take the foot off the accelerator and put it onto the brake, because they kind of think that they've made it. And what I love about working with you is that you make the decision. It doesn't matter if we're the number one in Australia, how do we become the number one in the world, but most importantly, how do we improve our performance on what we did yesterday and the week before that and the month before that, the quarter before that, the financial year before that, the calendar year before that, and that everything is about continual growth. And the continual growth is something that really drives you because you really love the results and the outcomes. So I think that the most important thing for anyone is that who's the type of person that you're becoming? What are the things right now that aren't working for you inside of your environment, and what can you do in order to be able to get them on track? And if you just make that decision to just rule the line down on the stuff that isn't working, then let's get really clear about what the outcomes or what success might look like, and get out of your own head. So go spend some time with someone who's doing something a little bit better than you, someone who's doing some bigger things in a different section of their life, and actually get them to be able to mentor you and torment you through some great questions to become a much, much better person, to be hungrier for that success that happens inside of this game.